The girl's breath fogged in the cold as she stood at the edge of the gravel lot, staring at the row of Harleys like they were giants asleep. Her fists were tight, knuckles red, voice barely more than a whisper. My mom didn't come back last night. Engines clicked as they cooled. Boots moved. The men turned. And in that moment, everything in her small world shifted. Before we start this story, tell me, where in the world are you watching from? We love seeing how far these stories travel. And if you enjoy our stories, please consider subscribing to our channel and don't forget to hit the hype button. 9-year-old Harper Dawson hadn't planned on coming here. Her mother always told her to avoid the clubhouse on Mill Creek Road. Loud engines, rough men, dangerous stories. But when dawn came and her mother's bed was still empty, the fear in Harper's chest left her with no other choice. She walked the dirt road for nearly an hour, sweater pulled tight, sneakers damp from frost, the early Tennessee morning biting through her clothes. Every house she passed was dark. Every porch light felt like a reminder she was alone. She reached the gravel lot, just as a group of Hell's Angels finished a sunrise ride, engines rumbling down to a low idle before the men dismounted. Conversations quieted when they saw her, a kid standing there with shaking hands and a backpack twice her size. The tallest of them, broad shoulders beneath a worn leather vest, stepped forward slowly. People called him Flint, gray at the temples, a calm that came from years of holding chaos at arm's length. You lost, kid? Flint asked, voice steady but gentle. Harper swallowed hard. My mom didn't come back last night, and nobody will help me. The men exchanged looks, silent, heavy, knowing something serious had started. Flint crouched so he wasn't towering over her. Up close, Harper saw lines on his face carved by sun and time, but his eyes were steady, kind in a way that surprised her. Tell me your name, he said. Harper, she whispered. Harper Dawson. The name hit him like a quiet bell. He'd heard it before years ago, spoken by a brother he used to ride with. But Flint didn't react. He kept his tone calm. Where'd you last see your mom? Last night. She works closing shift at Casey's Diner. She always comes home. Always. Harper gripped a necklace around her neck, a pendant shaped like a tin star. But she didn't, and the sheriff said they'd look into it. That means nobody's coming. Behind Flint, 2 bikers, Bear and Rooster, shifted their weight, listening closely. Flint gave them a small nod. Stay alert. What made you come here? Flint asked. Harper lifted the tin star. This was my uncle's. Mom said if I ever got scared and she wasn't there, I should find the angels. Uncle said you are good men. Men who don't ignore people. A silence settled. Flint recognized the pendant instantly. He remembered the man who'd worn it, and the promise they'd all made the night he died. Flint took the pendant gently, thumb brushing over the worn edges. The memories came back. Late nights on country roads, a grin under a helmet. A brother named Caleb Dawson, who'd been killed in a highway accident 8 years earlier. Caleb had been younger, faster with jokes, the type who always had someone's back. And before he died, he made Flint swear something over beers and bad music. If anything ever happens to my sister, you look after her. Promise me. Flint had promised, and now her daughter was standing in front of him, trembling but brave enough to walk into a biker clubhouse alone. Harper, Flint said softly, handing the pendant back. What else do you remember from yesterday? She hesitated, then spoke quickly, like if she didn't, she'd fall apart. Mom was nervous all week. She kept double-checking the locks. Yesterday, she told me to stay close to the neighbors when she was at work, but she never explained why. And when I hugged her before she left, she said, if anything happens, go where people keep their word. That's why I came. Rooster exhaled sharply. Bear muttered something low. Flint stood, jaw tense. "All right," he said. "We're not waiting on the sheriff." He turned to the others. "Men, gear up." The shift in the air was immediate. No shouting, no theatrics, just quiet urgency. Jackets pulled on. Phones grabbed. Keys checked. This wasn't the first time they'd mobilized, but the stakes felt sharper now. Flint looked at Harper again. "You're staying with Tasha inside," he told her, motioning toward the clubhouse door. "She'll keep you warm." A woman in a denim vest appeared, wiping grease from her hands. "Come on, sweetheart," she said gently. Harper hesitated, but followed her in, clutching her backpack. Once the door shut, Flint gathered the crew in a tight circle. "Caleb's sister is missing. Last seen at Casey's diner." A ripple moved through the group. Recognition, respect. Caleb had been one of theirs. Rooster asked, "Any trouble she might have stepped into?" Flint nodded. Harper said she was scared. "If she didn't come home, something's wrong. We checked the diner first, then the road she walks, then every back lot and shortcut between here and there." Bear cracked his knuckles. "You want to call to the sheriff?" "Already did," Flint said. "He'll take his time." "We won't." Engines began starting one by one, deep and steady. The kind of sound that announced intent. Flint climbed onto his Harley. Eyes on the horizon. Let's bring her home. They rode out like a storm, front 12 Harleys, in a staggered line down Mill Creek Road. Morning sun cutting through fog, gravel spitting under tires. Cars pulled aside when they passed. People stared. Flint didn't care. Every minute counted. Casey's diner sat at the edge of town, neon sign flickering in the weak light. The manager, a thin man with tired eyes, stepped outside as the bikes rolled in. "You boys hear about Lily?" he asked quietly. Flint's gut tightened. "She didn't come home." "What do you know?" The manager swallowed. "She clocked out around 10. Said she was walking straight home, wouldn't take a ride. Kept looking over her shoulder all night. Didn't tell us why." Rooster glanced toward the alley. "Any cars waiting? Anyone hanging around?" The manager hesitated. There was a black SUV parked across the road for hours. Tinted windows. Didn't recognize it. Flint felt the temperature inside him drop. Direction it went? East, toward Briar Creek Road. Flint turned to the men. "Check the route. Slow and steady. Look for tire tracks, drag marks, anything." Engines reignited. The crew split into teams, fanning out along the road Lily should have taken. Flint rode at the front. Jaw locked. Something had grabbed her, and he intended to find out who. Flint's group followed the narrow shoulder of Briar Creek Road, eyes scanning every ditch and patch of dirt. The morning frost hadn't melted yet, which made tracks easier to spot. About a mile from the diner, Rooster braked suddenly and signaled the others. "Right here," he called, crouching near a bend in the road. Flint dismounted. In the mud were two sets of footprints, one small, one larger, and a smear in the dirt that suggested someone had stumbled or been pulled. Nearby, deep tire ruts cut across the grass, leading off the road and toward a stand of trees. Bear knelt beside them. SUV tread, heavy, maybe idling a while. Flint followed the line with his eyes, jaw tightening. The prints disappeared into a narrow trail behind the brush. It was secluded, not used often, just wide enough for a vehicle to slip through unnoticed. Rooster looked at Flint. "You thinking what I'm thinking?" Flint nodded. This wasn't random. Someone waited for her. A sick heaviness settled over the men. Flint stepped back, scanning the tree line, listening for anything water, insects, distant movement. "Bear, call the other teams. Tell them to converge here." Engines rumbled in the distance as riders redirected toward their position. Flint's voice dropped low. "We're close." They followed the hidden trail on foot, moving quietly despite their size. Branches snapped under boots. Birds scattered. Flint felt the old instinct waking in him, the same grounded awareness he'd learned during years of protecting his own people. He listened to the forest, the air, the silence between distant engine sounds. A quarter-mile in, Rooster spotted something dangling from a thorn bush. A piece of fabric. Floral print. Flint lifted it carefully. "This match what Lily wore?" He asked. Bear nodded grimly. Manager said blue flower dress. Flint pocketed the cloth and moved deeper down the path. The trees thinned, opening into a clearing. A rusted fishing shack leaned against the creek bank, windows boarded, roof sagging. No tire marks up front, but fresh mud at the back. Near a half-open service door, Rooster whispered. Someone was here. Flint approached slowly, hand hovering near his waist, not for a weapon, but for readiness. They didn't charge in. No yelling. No reckless bravery. Just quiet, practiced maneuvering. Flint signaled for Rooster to circle left, Bear right. A soft sound drifted out, a muffled cough. Everyone froze. Flint stepped to the door, pulse steady, breath slow. "Lily?" He called softly. Silence answered. Then a faint scrape inside. Flint pushed the door open with one slow motion. Dust swirled in a shaft of cold light. The shack smelled of damp wood and gasoline. His eyes adjusted quickly, scanning corners, shadows, movement. Rooster held position behind him, Bear guarding the entry. In the far corner, tied to a support beam, sat Lily Dawson, head slumped forward, wrists bound, dried blood on her cheek. Her breathing was shallow but present. Relief hit Flint like a punch, followed by a harder truth. Whoever took her could still be close. He approached quietly, crouching beside her. "Lily, it's Flint, Caleb's brother. You're safe now." Her eyes fluttered open, confusion turning into recognition. Tears welled instantly. My daughter Harper did someone?" "She's safe," Flint assured firmly. "She came to us. Smart girl, brave." Lily tried to sit up, but pain twisted her body. Rooster cut the bindings with a pocket knife, steady and deliberate. Bear scanned the windows. No one else here. Whoever did this left in a hurry. Flint helped Lily stand. Her voice was barely a whisper. They kept asking about Caleb, about money he owed. Something he hid. "I didn't know anything. I swear." Flint felt a chill rise. This wasn't about her. Someone wanted Caleb's ghost. Flint steadied Lily as they walked out of the shack, the cold air hitting her like a slap. She clung to his jacket, shaking uncontrollably, fear, pain, exhaustion, mixing into one trembling rhythm. When they reached the clearing, the rest of the riders emerged from the trail, forming a protective circle around her. No words, just nods and quiet respect. "Get her on my bike," Flint said. "We're taking her to the clinic." Rooster secured his jacket around Lily's shoulders. Bear offered water. The others kept watch on the tree line, expecting trouble to snap back like a rubber band. Just as Flint lifted Lily onto the bike, she grabbed his arm, eyes wide. "Flint," he said he'd come back, that he only left to get something, that he wasn't done with me. Flint's stomach turned. "Who?" Lily swallowed hard. "Man named Rourke. Said he rode with Caleb years ago. Said Caleb stole something from him. Blamed me for it." Rooster exchanged a dark look with Bear. "Rourke's trouble. Old school. Never forgives." Flint tightened his grip on the handlebars. "Then we move fast." He turned to the men. "2 riders stay with us. Everyone else fan out. Rourke's not leaving these woods without us knowing." Engines revved. The hunt shifted. The convoy rolled toward town, Flint leading with Lily, holding weakly to his waist. Two riders flanked them closely, while the others disappeared back into the woods, engines fading under the weight of determination. Flint kept his speed steady, eyes flicking between the road and his mirrors. Lily leaned toward his ear. "Flint, he thinks Caleb hid money. Something from a deal gone wrong. I don't know what he's talking about." Flint didn't respond immediately. He knew Caleb better than most knew. He'd been clean, honest, loyal to a fault. Whatever Rourke believed, it wasn't truth. But Flint also knew Rourke. The man didn't let go of grudges. A decade of bitterness could twist a mind. "You're safe now," Flint said finally. "That's all that matters." When they reached the small medical clinic in town, Flint carried Lily inside. The nurse gasped but moved quickly, guiding her into a room. "We'll take care of her," she said. Flint nodded, but didn't leave the doorway. "Call me if anything changes." Outside, Rooster received a call. He walked over, face tight. "We found Rourke's tire tracks circling the shack. He was watching from somewhere. He's still out there." Flint's jaw set. "He won't get near Harper. Not while we breathe." Back at the clubhouse, Harper sat on a worn leather couch, Tasha beside her, a steaming mug of cocoa untouched in her hands. Every creak of the floorboards made her flinch. Every roar of an engine outside made her hope it was Flint returning with news. Tasha kept her voice steady. "He'll find her. Flint doesn't quit." Harper didn't look up. "He promised." Tasha nodded. "Flint only promises what he can keep." Before Harper could respond, the heavy door opened. Flint stepped in, jacket damp from the ride, eyes scanning the room until he found her. The moment she saw him, Harper stood so fast the mug nearly spilled. Her voice cracked. Did you find her?" Flint knelt, placing both hands on her shoulders, steadying, grounding. "We did. She's hurt, but she's safe. She's at the clinic getting checked out." Harper's face broke relief, mixed with a tremor of leftover fear. She tried to breathe, but it came out in little gasps. Flint pulled her into a careful hug. "You saved her, Harper. You went where people would listen. That takes strength." But he didn't mention the next part, the danger still circling them. The man stalking the woods with a decade-old grudge. Harper didn't need that weight. Not yet. When Harper finally fell asleep in one of the spare rooms, Flint stepped outside into the cold air where the others waited. Rooster leaned against a post, smoking, tension visible in the way he kept tapping the ash. Bear paced near the bikes, boots crunching gravel. Flint didn't waste time. Rourke was watching that shack. He knew we were close. Means he'll try again, either for Lily or Harper. Bear's jaw flexed. "We putting eyes on the clinic?" "Already handled," Flint said. 2 men posted outside, and the sheriff agreed to station a deputy after I told him Rourke's name. Rooster whistled low. "Sheriff didn't argue?" "No, he knows Rourke's history. Knows we're faster on the ground." The men nodded, the kind of nod that came from years of watching each other's backs. Flint crossed his arms, staring at the distant tree line. "Rourke thinks Caleb hid cash from some deal. But Caleb never mentioned anything like that. Not once." "Maybe someone lied to Rourke," Rooster said. "Or maybe he's unraveling." "Either way," Flint replied, "he wants something that doesn't exist. And he's blaming Lily." Silence fell again, heavy, cold. Flint exhaled slowly. "We end this tonight." Night settled fast over Mill Creek. Clouds rolled low, pressing darkness into the hills. The clubhouse lights glowed soft against the gravel lot as Flint prepared the next move. He pulled out the old metal box Caleb had left him years ago, a box Flint had never opened out of respect for a brother's privacy. But if Caleb had left any clue, any explanation. It would be here. Rooster and Bear stood nearby, waiting. Flint took a slow breath, pried the latch, and lifted the lid. Inside were photos Caleb and Flint on rides, club barbecues, dusty highways. Then letters folded neatly. At the bottom, a notebook. Flint opened it carefully. The pages weren't about money or deals. They were lists names of men Caleb had helped leave dangerous situations, women he'd driven to shelters, kids he'd checked on when teachers called him worried. Caleb's quiet work. His way of protecting without drawing attention. Bear scratched his beard. No cash. No map. Nothing someone could sell. Flint nodded. Because Caleb wasn't hiding money. He was hiding people. Rourke must have thought Caleb ran a side operation. But this is just someone doing good. Rooster frowned. So Rourke built his whole grudge on a lie. Flint closed the box. Jaw tight. That lie nearly got Lily killed. Meanwhile, at the clinic, Lily rested in a dimly lit room with monitors softly beeping around her. A deputy sat outside the door, boots planted, hand resting near his holster. He looked alert, but not hardened, more nervous than seasoned. Two angels sat on either side of the hallway, arms crossed, quiet but unmistakably present. Tasha arrived with spare clothes for Lily and knelt beside the bed. "You're safe," she said softly. "Harper's sleeping at the clubhouse." Lily's voice trembled. "Flint, did he look angry?" Tasha gave a small smile. "Flint doesn't get angry. He gets focused." Lily looked down at her bandaged wrists. "I don't understand why Rourke came after me. I barely remember him from Caleb's days." Tasha placed a hand on hers. "Some men live off old resentments. They feed the anger instead of letting it die." Suddenly, the hallway lights flickered. The deputy straightened, hand gripping his radio. The angels roused at the same time. Tasha moved to the door, peering through the narrow window. Outside, a shadow passed the front entrance, slow, purposeful. One of the riders muttered, "Someone's here?" Tasha's breath caught. Flint needs to know now. Back at the clubhouse, Flint's phone vibrated. One look at the caller ID, and his expression hardened. He answered immediately. "Talk to me." Tasha's voice was tight. "Someone's lurking outside the clinic. Tall, hooded. Deputies spooked. We think it's Rourke." Flint didn't hesitate. "Keep everyone inside. Lock the doors. We're coming." He hung up and turned to the crew. "Rourke's at the clinic." Rooster cursed under his breath. Bear grabbed his helmet. Without another word, the men moved coordinated, fast. The rumble of engines filled the air seconds later. Flint rode at the front, wind cutting his face, thoughts razor-focused. Rourke wasn't after money. He wasn't after closure. He was chasing a ghost of his own making, dragging Lily into a story that ended years ago. As they tore down the main road, Flint replayed Caleb's notebook in his mind. Every name, every note of someone helped. Caleb had been building safety, not secrets. Protecting, not hiding. And Rourke had twisted that into something ugly. When the clinic came into view, Flint saw the sheriff's cruiser lights flashing, angels standing guard, and a single dark figure near the tree line, watching the building like a predator waiting for a mistake. Flint slowed his bike. This was the moment everything shifted. Flint stepped off his bike, boots sinking slightly into the wet soil. The other angels formed a loose arc behind him. No weapons drawn, no grand display, just a united wall of quiet strength. The sheriff approached cautiously from the side of the building, hand resting on his belt. "That him?" Flint asked. The sheriff nodded toward the shadowed silhouette near the tree line. "Matches the description. Man's been pacing for 10 minutes. Won't come in, won't leave." Flint took a slow breath and walked forward alone. The figure shifted, revealing a gaunt face under a hood. Eyes fever bright. Rourke, older than Flint remembered, leaner, but carrying the same simmering hostility. "You came for her," Flint said. Voice steady. Rourke smirked, the expression brittle. "Caleb took something from me. She knows where it is." Flint shook his head. He didn't take anything. Caleb wasn't running scams. He was helping people. Rourke scoffed. "You think I'm stupid?" "He hid money." "I know he did." "No," Flint said quietly. "He hid names. People escaping danger. I saw the notebook." Rourke's smirk vanished, replaced by a flicker of uncertainty, confusion. "That's impossible," he muttered. He told me." "He told you nothing," Flint interrupted. "You built a ghost and chased it into real lives." Rourke's hands twitched at his sides, torn between anger and something that looked almost like fear. "Caleb owed me," he insisted, voice cracking slightly. "He promised a payout. Said it would change everything." Flint stepped closer. "Caleb promised a lot of people hope. Not money. You twisted words because hope wasn't enough for you." Rourke shook his head, pacing in a tight circle. No, I waited 10 years. I lost everything because of that debt. Everything." "That wasn't Caleb," Flint said. "That was your resentment." The sheriff stayed back, letting the two men face each other. Flint lifted the metal box he'd brought, the one with Caleb's photos and notes. This is all he left. If he had cash tucked away, don't you think he'd have told his own family? His brothers? Rourke stared at the box like it betrayed him. His breath hitched. His shoulders sagged for the first time. He lied to me? Rourke asked quietly. Flint softened his voice. "No, you lied to yourself. And you nearly killed Lily because you couldn't let go of a story you created." Tears pricked at the edges of Rourke's eyes. Anger returned just as fast, rising to smother vulnerability. "I can still take back what's owed," he growled. Flint shook his head. "Not tonight." Rourke lunged not at Flint, but toward the clinic door, toward Lily. Flint reacted instantly, intercepting him with a shoulder block that sent both men stumbling into the dirt. Not a brawl, not chaos, just a sharp, controlled stop. Rourke scrambled to rise, but Bear and Rooster closed in, not touching him, just forming a wall too solid to slip past. Flint stood, breathing hard but steady. "Enough," Flint said. "You're done." Rourke glared up, chest heaving. "She owes me. She owes you nothing," Flint snapped, voice sharper than it had been all night. "You let your anger rot every good part of you. Caleb didn't betray you. You betrayed yourself." For a brief second, Rourke's expression cracked open rage, grief, loss blending into something hollow. His knees gave out. He slumped to the ground, mumbling, "It was supposed to save us." He promised. The sheriff stepped forward then, slowly. "Rourke, you're under arrest for kidnapping, stalking, and assault." The deputy cuffed him while he barely resisted Dot as they pulled him to his feet. Rourke looked at Flint one last time. "If Caleb had told me the truth." Flint shook his head. "You weren't listening then. You wouldn't have listened now." Rourke closed his eyes. Dot was finally over Dot inside the clinic. The tension drained as news spread that Rourke had been taken into custody. Tasha let out a breath she didn't know she was holding. The deputy slumped into his chair, relief replacing fear. Lily wiped her eyes, exhaustion catching up with her. "Is Harper safe?" she asked immediately. Tasha nodded. "She's at the clubhouse. Flint will bring you to her once you're cleared." Lily leaned back, tears sliding silently down her temples. "I shouldn't have kept things from her. I thought shielding her would keep her safe." Tasha pulled up a chair. Harper walked into that clubhouse with more courage than some grown adults. She trusted the right people. That's something you taught her. Lily laughed weakly, wiping her nose. She gets her stubborn streak from her uncle. Outside, Flint entered quietly, nodding to the nurse. When he stepped inside Lily's room, she tried to sit straighter. "You don't have to do that," Flint said gently. "You've been through enough today. Is he gone?" She whispered, taken into custody. "He won't be near you again." Lily covered her face, shoulders shaking a mix of release and ache. Flint stood by her bed, hands resting on the rail. "You're not alone anymore. You hear me?" Lily nodded through tears. For the first time in years, she believed it. The next morning, sunlight stretched across Mill Creek like a slow, warm breath. Outside the clinic, the angels waited with their bikes lined neatly along the curb engines off, patches catching the early light. Harper stood beside Tasha, bouncing nervously on her toes. When Lily stepped out, bruised but upright, Harper bolted from the sidewalk and threw herself into her mother's arms. Lily winced at the pressure, but held her daughter tight, burying her face into Harper's hair. "You came for me," Lily whispered. Harper nodded hard. "You told me to find people who keep their word." Lily looked over Harper's shoulder at Flint. Emotion flickered through her eyes, gratitude. Relief, something deeper she couldn't name. Flint gave a small nod. "Let's get you both home." Bear had already checked Lily's apartment for safety. Rooster installed a new lock. Tasha stocked the pantry. Nobody made a big deal about any of it. They simply acted the way Caleb once had got as Flint rolled his bike forward. Harper tugged on his vest. "My uncle. He really was one of you." Flint rested a hand gently on her head. "Your uncle had a good heart. You've got the same." Harper smiled for the first time in 2 days. The road ahead felt brighter when Lily and Harper rode home behind the angels. The whole town knew something had changed family. Wasn't just blood, it was the people who showed up. If this story touched you, subscribe, like, and stay with us. More real stories of courage and brotherhood are on the way.